Hi everyone, Lori Flasco here. And I just have to introduce to you somebody that I'm having a conversation with today who I think is awesome and kind and amazing and all of that. And he's from HR world. His name is Ian Durant, and he's the employee experience partner at Pronto Forms. And you're in Ottawa, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
here in Ottawa.
here in Ottawa. And we've been talking about kindness, and we've talked about how some people see kindness as fluffy, yet kindness has a real strategic advantage. And we had a conversation. Ian had to recently do let somebody go from his organization, and I think he just did it in the most amazing way. So, Ian, welcome. Thank you for sharing this. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you did and the impact of that?
Thanks, Laurie. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's never easy to let anybody go, even when you're all in the office and you can kind of see each other and know how people are feeling. But yeah, recently we had to let somebody go by web conference. And unfortunately, we weren't able to see them on the video. And I got the sense that,
That's
when I was
hard.
talking, yeah, I got the sense when I was talking with this person that maybe they weren't taking the news so great, but couldn't really see them, didn't really feel comfortable necessarily asking him to turn on his video if he wasn't comfortable with that. So basically, the meeting ended, and then afterwards, just to make sure that everything was okay with him, normally our process would be to kind of have the IT equipment shipped back to us through a Purelator or something like that. But I actually scheduled a time with him to go and to his house and pick up the IT equipment from him, and that gave me a really good opportunity to meet with him in person, have a chat just person to person, and just see how he was doing and make sure that he was okay. And I think, just taking that little extra step it can go a long way in making sure that you're mitigating your damages as an employer, but just also making sure that the people that you're unfortunately having to let go are doing okay.
I love that because you're right. And we talked about how now we're virtually and we don't get to see people's eyes. We don't can't read their body language if they don't have their cameras on, which is
Yeah.
something that you wanted to give him that yeah, that ability to keep it off if he wanted. And
Yeah.
and I love that you just kind of listened, because that's what I'm guessing happened. You kind of listened to that little voice inside that said, "Hey, can't read this. I'm not sure. What else can I do?" And
Absolutely. Yeah. And understanding that, right now and always it's difficult, but right now, especially, it's really difficult for people. So anytime that you can kind of lead with empathy and compassion when you're doing these things, it can go a long way in making sure that your organization is limiting its risk, but also just making sure that you're doing the right thing by people.
yeah, excellent. And I do want to add one more thing, because you were also talking about being part or knowing other organizations that maybe don't have this piece of the empathy or the kindness or compassion. And just tell us what your experience with that has been.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes, with larger organizations, it is a little bit more difficult. You're going to kind of implement a company-wide process, and there isn't necessarily as much room to maneuver and personalize things to kind of make sure that you're doing right by people. But I think offboarding is just as important as onboarding, and actually the two lead into each other. If you do a poor job of offboarding and you don't act with empathy or compassion, that person, they're more likely to go on a place like Glassdoor and leave you with a negative review. And then future job seekers maybe aren't going to want to join your organization because they see this is how this person was treated when they were leaving the organization, right? So I think, even when you are back in the office, it always makes sense to just go into these meetings knowing that it's a really difficult thing for both the employee and for yourself. Listen, approach them with kindness, approach them with humility, and it's going to make it a better experience for everyone, as unfortunate an experience as it is.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today, and
For sure. Thank you, Laurie.
thanks.